Hello manga and anime lovers, I'm Branch, and today I'm talking about episode 6 of Mysterious Disappearances. Now this episode was a lot better than the previous one, of which I had many grievances to air out, and it's mostly due to the fact that it's focusing on another mystery this time, and of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Tadashino is back in the picture, and his comedy is always great. I especially like the points where he complained to Sumineko up front that he didn't get to witness the bath scene, and then Sumineko replied that he wouldn't be there because that's not the point of a bath scene. I thought that was some pretty funny fourth wall jokes. But then later on, when she calls him and he's shirtless, washing off, I believe he's washing his face, he apologizes for being shirtless, even though she can't see him. I thought that stuff was so good. Those were like some of the best parts of the episode. That and learning about the new curiosity this week, which, well, let me pull it up. The translation is The Little Girl in Red, but the actual name is something along the lines of Hongi Xiao Hai. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not very good at languages closer to Chinese. I don't know if that's Chinese. It's a Taiwanese legend, so it might be Chinese. It looks like Chinese, but I could be wrong. Now, this episode is mostly an exposition episode for the new creature of this arc. And we basically follow Oto and Sumineko as they go about investigating these mysterious disappearances. And then there's some fun stuff with the new girl, Shizuku, and her job at the maid cafe, where Oto gets roped into being a maid while Sumineko is investigating. I thought that was kind of funny. It was a lot better than whatever the heck was going on last episode, I can tell you that much. Before we get into the little girl in red, I want to mention how this episode was a little awkward in terms of direction and conflict. So the direction was pretty flat, more so than a lot of the episodes I've noticed. A lot of the characters didn't really move when they were animated, and it just felt like it was more of a slideshow than anything. Although that wasn't quite as bad as the forced conflict, or maybe forced is the wrong term, but the rather unnatural conflict. Like when Adashino very wisely says that Oto shouldn't be mixed up with all this, and especially because Oto got herself almost pummeled to death last episode because she tried to help. And then she runs off because she's mad because she wants to help her brother, which is understandable. And then Adashino allows Sumineko to basically babysit her, be the older sister and help her out and make her feel like she's doing something special, you know. I thought that was very good. Sumineko and Oto's relationship is probably the best, or the second best in the series aside from Sumineko and Adashino. In fact, I would say that Sumineko is at the heart of most of the good relationships in this film. Whoa, in this series. Because everything else doesn't really hold up, I would say. Especially Shizuku and her friend, I believe, Tomoe? Something. I'm going to say Tomo for now. Shizuku has not been portrayed very well, and I don't mean the fact that the show's doing her a disservice, but that she's just really odd. Everyone compares her to a cat, but even cats are a little bit more logical than she was. I blame it on the bad direction, where you can't really tell why she's saying things. Like when she goes silent, and you're supposed to read her emotions, you can't really read it because the animation and direction isn't that good. But I can read between the lines and get a basic read of her character, and she's actually a lot like Oto, in that she's standoffish because she's suffering on the inside, because someone she cares about is in trouble. And in fact, Oto alludes to this later in the episode because she sees herself in Shizuku, which is why she's helping her, even though Shizuku, literally beat her up last episode. The most important thing we got from that conversation, I would say plot-wise, is the fact that Oto and her brother actually got lost and ended up where they are right now. Now, I theorized that they were spirited away or something like that, and this probably is still the case. But it also lends credence to the giant portal she saw in her dream a couple episodes ago. I doubt Adashino came through the portal, but it's possible that they were portaled away somewhere. I also wonder what their situation was like before they were transported, because no one came looking for them, at least according to Oto. Now, of course, if they couldn't find them, then that's obvious why it seems that way. But it's possible they didn't have the greatest of relationships back home with either their family or their friends. And I think that all leads into this new city. I'm still a little bit confused on this because last episode, Adashino went to this this place with a weird swirly sky, and the old man said it was a newish place, so spirits and the like and curiosities gathered to it. But the fact that it was a swirling sky makes me think it was a alternate dimension. It might not be. We'll probably clear that up in a couple episodes. But also the train station that the siblings live in seems to be in this same swirling sky place. They have to circle around this red statue and chant a spell in order to access it, which was a little neat. I was wondering where that red statue in the opening was from, and here it is. Now that I think about it, Sumideko never went there herself before. As far as I can remember, it was either not shown on screen or Adashino brought her there when she was asleep. Now on to the main meat and potatoes of the episode, the really good part, which is, of course, Sumideko and Adashino investigating this little girl in red. It seems like what's actually going on is a bunch of Taiwanese legends have been combined into this one spirit or curiosity that goes around in thunderstorms when it's raining, knocks on doors, and then if people open them and possibly have to accept her invitation, she takes them away. Although what I think is actually happening, especially because of the twist at the end of the episode, is this little girl in red is possessing the person who answers and then goes around looking for someone else. Because the person who is spirited away is not returned until someone else goes missing. And I'm not sure if they are always killed. The one person died in an avalanche, but it's not confirmed that everyone who is taken by the little girl in red dies, especially because there was the instance of the one old lady that Adashino was talking about, where she was found safe and sound. Well, maybe not safe and sound, but alive and well in a cave. So it's quite possible that the friend of Shizuku is actually alive and won't be dead by the end of next episode. I'm not entirely sure, though, because she shows up as the little girl in red, which makes me wonder if these people, if the little girl in red possesses people, then how do people know that she's a little girl in red? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, we did see a flash of red in Shizuku's phone video. I'm not sure. I assume this will all be cleared up next time, but we definitely saw the silhouette of Shizuku's friend behind the door. That stuff was really good. Everything with the curiosity is much better than the Ushioni of the last arc. And the cursed book wasn't really a monster or anything. This one's a lot scarier, even if it's still not that creepy, especially because the animation can be a little derpy at times. So the final thing I want to talk about before I wrap things up is I just want to discuss some of the legends that Adashino talked about regarding this little girl in red and the other legends that were mixed into one. So there was this water spirit legend in Taiwan, which again I can't remember the name of, that was mixed into the little girl or to various other stories of creatures that would kidnap people, and they were combined to turn into this curiosity that we're facing today. I did do some research on the little girl in red to see if I could find a actual story from Taiwan that I could read and get more reference from, but all I really got was a movie that was made, apparently, a couple movies. I haven't seen them. I don't know if they're good, but I couldn't find anything about the original folktale. All in all, I'd say this episode is definitely a step up storytelling-wise from the last episode, although the production value continues to decline, which is rather worrisome. Hopefully they're just saving it for next episode, the episodes where it matters, where they face off against the curiosities. But I guess we'll see about that. Also, Ulto as a maid being all clumsy and the people liking her anyway was just lovely. I really like that part. I also feel like Ulto's going to do something rather stupid in an effort to help because she feels so undervalued. And that's going to have some interesting consequences, because she's been doing it too. She didn't go with Sumideko to Shizuku's place at the end of the episode. She went by herself to investigate. So unfortunately, I think she's going to cause some trouble. Sumideko, on the other hand, is doing wonderful. She took charge of the whole thing and basically figured it all out. Or at least allowed Adashino to figure it out with all the info she gathered. All in all, pretty good stuff. A little worrisome with the production value, but hopefully it won't be too bad. I'm still liking the show, especially the spooky side of things. That being said, thanks so much for watching. See ya!